breezy day, but at least it's not raining, and we've come down to the beautiful wildlife garden people will be familiar with at St John's, not just because it's a lovely place to come and contemplate nature in any case, but also to find out a little bit more about a new venture for the Manx Wildlife Trust. And this is, in essence, adult learning.
Yep, so one of the things that we are keen to do within our new strategy, more so, is to connect people with nature. And for many, many years, Manx Wildlife Trust has been doing that wonderfully through, for example, through Dawn, our education officer, into schools and adult drop-in sessions, etc. But one of our ambitions now is to take the adult session to the next level and actually create a course structure and some certificates so that people can actually come along and do a bit more formal courses with us, learn lots about nature and wildlife, and also get a certificate at the end of it.
So how's this going to work then? There's going to be a sort of taster session coming up this weekend, this Saturday.
Yes, so we're partnering with the Manx Herbalist, with Jane Prescott, and between us we're looking to run a series of tasters on the Saturday afternoon in St John's to give people an idea about the sort of things that they might do on a course within the future. So be that learning about plants or the uses of plants, or maybe about how to create a wildlife gardening at home. So some of my colleagues and Jane are doing taster sessions, but also we're going to collect some information from the people that turn up, and be it simply just filling in on a clipboard what courses they might be interested in, so that we can sense check what would be most interesting to the people in the Isle of Man.
And Jane is with us here as well. Now, you were telling me a great little anecdote that you actually, there is a link whilst you didn't meet between what your previous lives that were in Edinburgh and Jane.
Yeah, so I can see Jane looks. I know Jane's going to chip in on this, but I've got the microphone first dibs. So I spent 10 wonderful years at the Royal Botanic Garden in Edinburgh, in short, running education and learning, interpretation, etc. And while we were there, we created quite a few new courses, and one of those was in herbology. And so those of you that like Harry Potter will know about herbology, but it predates, the word predates Harry Potter. And what herbology basically is, well, actually I'll rephrase that. So horticulture is the cultivation of plants. Ethnobotany is how you would use plants. If you put the two together, you get herbology. And we created in Edinburgh Botanic Garden courses in herbology that actually pinnacled in a blended learning course, a diploma, so a higher level course in herbology. And I actually discovered when I arrived in the Isle of Man that Jane had actually done the diploma in herbology and was one of the first students to go through the blended learning model. So I felt a bit of a glow that something I'd helped create in Edinburgh has actually cascaded to Jane and inspired her now. And I'm going to point the microphone at Jane now in terms of how that's inspired her to be part of education going forward in the Isle of Man.
So they are, Jane, a big lead up there. We're virtually in your back garden here.
We are, absolutely. So I live obviously just across the road since 1991, so very familiar with this area. For many years, St John's Mill was the derelict mill opposite us, with the derelict tenterfield where the cloth was dried, just covered in brambles and a few bluebells that came out in spring. And then there was a Millennium project to renovate the mill as the conference ecumenical centre that it is now. And I was asked to rethink the tenterfield. So we designed this garden here, which makes a reference to the history of St John's Mill, and also uses water that's associated with the mill. So yes, I've known it for a long time. And André Doubledam from the Wildlife Trust came in and planted it up specifically as a wildlife-friendly garden. So using a blend of cultivated plants that have benefits for wildlife, but also native plants that you could bring into your garden. So yes, I've known it for a long time.
And how did you make the swap over from garden design then into the Manx Herbalist now?
Well, again, that's all really serendipity. Lee and I we decided we're some of the few people that believe very strongly in serendipity, and that was really my son's fault, because he was living in Edinburgh and bought me membership of the Botanic Gardens because he was living very close to it. So I got their newsletter, never expected to do any more training, opened the newsletter one morning, look at these new courses, herbology, and I thought, what's herbology? And my late husband Steve said he'd never seen me so excited, because it just brought together everything that I was passionate about in terms of garden design, so physic garden design, medicine gardens, but also how to use plants and medicinal plants and remedies and ethnobotany that Lee's already mentioned, because I'm passionate about how people integrate or link with wildlife and nature and plants and how we use plants. Botanical illustration. It was just a blend of everything that just fascinated me. So
you're going to hope now through these adult education courses you're going to be giving a taste this coming weekend. Is your hope to sort of pass on this enthusiasm to others on the island?
most definitely. And I think one of the inspirations for this weekend was really having gone through lockdown, I realised that people were suddenly spending a lot of time in their gardens and really in their immediate local area. And that people were suddenly just having the time and the space to look at what was immediately around them. And I set up a Facebook group really to explore that relationship, and was just amazed at how much feeling there was about it, and really people just saying, wow, this is just incredible and this is in front of us. And I'm going, well, yes, I've always been passionate about that, so would you like me to teach you about it? And that's really was the inspiration, and through talking to Lee and this common thread that we've had on education. And again, it was my tutor in Edinburgh who said to me that that she really felt that I should go towards doing workshops and really teaching people about this side of things. So yeah, she was the inspiration for that as well, and then Lee's taken it forward. And
do you think there's been an increase in sort of recent months and years? People do seem to sort of be getting back to nature a little bit, having more of an interest in where things come from, where medicines come from, sort of how plants grow, how we've used them over the centuries?
I definitely think so, yes. And again, I think the other thing that's come out of COVID is thinking about our health and how we link with the world about us and how that influences our health, both physically but also mentally. I mean, again, my role as a landscape architect is understanding just how important open spaces are to our mental health as well as our physical health. And I think definitely people are coming around to that.
So, as you say, it's towing the water, this, to see, I suppose, what the market is, what people are interested in. If people want to find out more, they want to come along this Saturday, how do they get in contact? I think it's free of charge.
It's free of charge. If they go to Manx Wildlife Trust website, they can click on and register. We are going to probably just allow people to drop in, Cole. We know people are going to be walking past, but it helps us manage the event if people can register first, please. So please go to our website and register, and then please just drop in and come and have a chat, attend some of the sessions, the programmes online about the different talks you can come along to. But very much it's about us having, people here from Jane and ourselves from Manx Wildlife Trust, so that people can come and chat to, and we can ask us questions, we can tell them a bit more about what we're thinking about. Very much an informal way, but I think there'll be a lot of fun and learning and nice things going on in the afternoon as well.
And then the hope is, presumably, if there's an enthusiasm for this and a market for it, as it were, then you can see sort of courses in, well, you name it really, whatever topic tickles people's fancy, and going forward.
I think, so to give you one example of I guess in a past life, imagine now we created something like, let's call it a certificate in ecology or how to be a naturalist. So imagine that you could do that, and you might be able to do it on weekends in the summer, or maybe you come along and do it on a series of Saturdays over the year, and you do a session with Lara, Dr. Lara Howe, our marine officer, one day, and you're down at the seashore, and you might do another session with Andre on the plants or with trees. So you get a mix of ecological skills. You learn about identification, a bit about taxonomy, a bit about the different classification systems, how to care for it, and to give you the basic skills. Now that might be really interesting for someone who just wants to know more about it, but it could also be fantastic, we hope, for maybe the people on the island who want to either career change into a more conservation ecological career, or maybe for young people in the island who are coming through school and want to go and have that first step, and maybe doing something like a 2-week course with Manx Wildlife Trust and Jane about how to become an ecologist could be a really good test for them and a good skill set so on there. So we'd see it as a fun thing, and we'd also see it as a capacity building potential for the island.